from Tractor Supply Company. It's good to have you on here. If you've never been on the channel before, my name is Ryan, and yeah, come here, just working in the, working on things, either in the garden, in the greenhouse, or out here in the, on the property, not every single day, but all the time. Come here live on the stream. So, yeah, so today's kind of a chill day, like which we normally have chill streams on here. We don't worry here on Easygoing Growers. But the big piece that we have going on right now is that we are working on the run portion of the new chicken coop that I got from Tractor Supply Company. Again, this isn't sponsored or anything like that. It's just simply I got for the girls. It's we're increasing the size of the flock this year. They need a new space. I've had them in the garden, and the intent was always to move them into the backyard here and get them out of the garden. Couple of reasons for protection, but they just need a better space, something that's going to be a little more robust. We gave it a go with the little one to start because that's all I had enough for those chickens. But we've since we've been growing a little bit, getting more. So not many. We're going to end up with 10 total right now. Chicken for the crew. But make sure they get good space here. So again, I'll give you guys a quick walkthrough on this here, what we're kind of dealing, kind of give you the bigger picture. So you can see I've got the components over there, the overall run itself. You can see the spacing that we have. There's the chicks enjoying the fact that nothing's really growing yet here in Michigan and what we have, but this is where it's going to be at. So I've got, the run's going to run here, obviously doing its thing. We're setting up the door on this side. And then on the far side over here, this is where the coop will be at. You can see the coop components that are here. And the coop is going to fit in right here. So today, really the kind of goal is to get the run done, get some stuff on top, get this overall structure set up. So that's kind of where we're at. You can see I've already been a little bit busy here. A few things I've learned, especially is getting this channel, is kind of getting set up first before I go live, because half the battle with this stuff is just getting to figure out how these kits go together. So with that, the kit that I am using, I left that up here so you guys could see. It's going to be backwards for y'all, but Producer's Pride Defender Chicken Coop. It's from Tractor Supply Company. If you want to go see how much I paid here, I think it looks really nice. It's going to be a cute little thing. It's going to look good. But the overarching piece here is that I just wanted something I could piece together. I could have built something. That was kind of what I was thinking, but what I did is I decided I didn't really want to necessarily be building this out and having to rough it all together. So I paid the money and I had it delivered. It showed up here. I ordered it on Sunday. It showed up on Wednesday. So today's Thursday. It's pretty quick. It came from XPO was the delivery. Dropped it right in my, they dropped it directly in my driveway. Came on this big old frame that I'm going to use in my polytunnel. As a matter of fact, let's go take a look and show you the frame that it came in on. I think it's probably important so you guys have an understanding of the size of this thing that's coming in. But you can see it's going to be decent looking. I'm going to have it over there in the corner. It's that part of my garden or my yard that doesn't really, like, the grass doesn't grow really well. XPO is great. I'm waiting to actually buy some more of their stock. I used to own a little bit of them. Not much, but yeah, they're really great. And good dude too. Like, I wish I would have had the ability just to kind of like snap click a thing and give him like a thumbs up or something, kind of like on Uber or whatever. But so we're here in the garden, and I'm going to show you guys kind of the difference here. So here's my polytunnel. We got this thing up. It's kind of my setup here. Show you inside here real quick what we're dealing with. And I just had a stream putting this thing together. If you guys haven't, hey Amber, how you doing? Good to see you. But I'll show you what it came in on. Just so you guys can see what the overall packaging looked like. So Alfonso, how's it going? All right, so inside the polytunnel here, man, is it ever nice in here. Oh, it's chilly out here right now. But you can see I'm gonna hop inside this frame so you guys can kind of get to scale so you understand what's being delivered. So I am 5'9", so that's how big I am. And it's basically arm's length wide, a little over shoulder width, right? And I'd say about 5 foot tall. So it's pretty, it's pretty decent sized. Okay. So that's what you're going to be dealing with. but everything comes pre-packaged in a whole bunch of stuff. Not a big deal there. They're heavy. So that's the one thing just to keep in mind, that it is, if you're not if you don't lift stuff for a living, I think the heaviest box was 140 pounds, I want to say. It's 140 pounds. So, one of them I could have carried it. That one I could have carried, but it was awkward. So I just took it apart and brought it in piece by piece over into in the garden here. So, but with the number of chickens that we're going to have this year, I needed a bigger run, needed a bigger coop. So, and like I said, it was always going to be the case that I was going to be putting this upgrading, and it just happens to be this is one we're going to have. So before I go any further, I'm going to put this right here. Before I go any further, again, when you're building out stuff like this, if you guys never done this before, the step-by-step on this is real simple. When you're piecing it together, like I've got all the connectors in here. Close this up. You want to keep them loose. You want them tight enough to where it's not flopping over, but loose enough to where you can still maneuver it. Because right now what I'm going to go do is down this line here, right? I'm going to make sure that this, again, like with anything, I'm just going to make sure this is as straight as I could have it here. So it'll be good. What does that chicken do? Okay, I got one of my chickens wants to go over and lay eggs, I think. Well, you know what? She can wait. She'll be fine. But anyways, so like right now, the angle is a bit off. So I'm just going to be adjusting this over right now, because I want this to be just over just a bit more. All right, and that's going to help just kind of square this thing off. I could go grab my square and just go do this right, but we're going to eyeball it because it'll straighten up more and square up as we're putting the components up here. But like with anything, guys, you want to try to have it squared up before you start putting the roof pieces on, okay? And that's kind of what the deal is here. I want to make sure it's as close to square as I can get before I get started. All right, so with that, we're going to start on these next piece here, which are going to be the tall pieces here on the other side, okay? And just kind of walk you through that here, what that looks like. And the directions were pretty straightforward on this, nothing too crazy, guys. But when you're dealing with this type of stuff, you always want to think about site prep, where it's at. As you can see, like this is my side of my garden too, our yard that collects all of the could be collecting all of the leaves, right? I have the winds blowing in here. It's kind of that area that just whips around. The grass doesn't really grow all that well because it is shaded for most of the day. So this is a spot that's just perfect to dump a run on. All the components, they come, what I do, like, engineered this pretty well. I would say that much, guys. So all of the components for it, there aren't a lot of, they didn't really over engineer this thing either. So it's all connecting with like the same type of clamps. They only have the one size of size of the bolt, not the length. It changes as needed. And the components for putting together the coop itself, it appears, and that's really what I can only go off of right now, it appears for the most part that it's a few, basically the same bolts that are going to be piecing everything together too. So overall, I think it's engineered okay. I'm pretty, again, it's out of Cambodia, it's the usual stuff. Now with that being said, it wasn't cheap, not like chicken cheap, but cheap. CHEAP, not CHEEP, where I think everything delivered was like, because I had a discount code too for some stuff, but I think it was like $1,300 all in. Again, if I'm gonna get the wood, gonna get the time to cut it, to do all the stuff, get the framing, do all these things, I was gonna be in for probably $1,100 anyways. So, long story short, TLDR, no matter what, I was gonna be paying, I was gonna be paying up for something of this size. And so I figured I might as well, make sure you match this up right. There we go. There we go. That looks better. There we go. So yeah, that was really just kind of the decision tree on that, guys. Was just to get this thing to this point. So, but and for I would say for most people, and if you have a friend that can come over and help you out with this thing, you got a partner, I would recommend that. For me, this is just more of a, I'm not on a timeline or anything to get this done. Like my chickens already have a place to hang out. We're not rushing it. So, I can take my time. But I will say that also, make sure you do take your time on this stuff. That's one of the worries that I always have when people get things like this, is that they they hustle through these things. They're worried about just getting it done fast. And this is the type of thing for sure where you can hurt yourself on it. None of this stuff is excessively heavy, but it is awkward. And collectively, it's got a lot of weight to it. So, and also you're going to spend a lot of money on this. So why not? Hold on. Let's not get ahead of myself here. I get this nut on here. Just take your time. Okay. Take your time on this. You spend a lot of money on these things. Don't rush it. The other thing too is there's a good possibility some of these pieces aren't going to exactly fit together the way that I want them to. And what I would say is that shouldn't be surprising to anyone. So when you run into that, keep that in mind, that that's probably going to be the case, that these things aren't going to fit quite right, because they're designed for a completely level, completely flat. When the engineers are doing their thing, but in reality, even this area that's pretty flat and level isn't flat and level. All right, it's going to be off. So there's going to be some give. There's going to be some take. As long as you're prepared for that, you're going to be in a much better spot. There we go. And like saying, this stuff is all awkward. You can see I'm just kind of having to make it work here. Now, again, this is all in these the bolts and the nuts that they have in here. It's an 18 millimeter. They don't really do a good job at telling you that in the packaging for prep on this. So there was a bit of figuring it out as I got my stuff. Again, it's all part of the deal. It was kind of understood that was going to be the case. That we'll be dealing with that. So, but anyways, moving along pretty good here. Also, when they do a good job also on the diagrams here, I am saying this much for the diagrams on this piece. Again, this is out of a Tractor Supply Company, this chicken coop and run. They do a good job as far as on the diagrams here. Okay, you guys ready to go? What are you doing? Hey, honey, what's up? Okay, I got my girl Honey, my chicken, coming over here. They do a good job on the diagrams, really spelling out to make sure that you have these, the way that they come together is aligned appropriately, because the spans won't match up if you don't have them there. Okay, so that's another one of those things that while we're working on this, that's why we're kind of keeping everything loose here. Hi, Honey, you gonna come get after me? Got my girl Honey. She's right here. You can't see her, but she's coming to harass me. All right, what do we got? This is, and it's the same little stuff that you'll always hear me about. Take your time and just make sure your stuff's lined up ahead of time. And a lot of this makes sense, or is a lot easier. The other piece too, guys, is that, like I said, they do a good job on the diagrams to make this pretty clean and clear at what this is supposed to look like. All that being said, keep your nuts and keep your bolts loose-ish. They're tight enough to be secure until you're able to get your rooftop stuff lined up. I feel 90% confident that I've got this thing installed on the base correctly, in line with what they want me to do. Like 90%. There's still 10% of me that I still looked at that diagram and got it backwards. It's just the way my brain works. And I've done I've done way too many things to just blindly trust my ability to look at a diagram and figure it out. So I'm gonna switch up my mic real quick. There we go. Again, that's tight but loose. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm not sure. I'm gonna switch this out. I have this feeling like the mic is not working right for some reason. All right, so we're gonna try this mic. Just gotta, guys, let me know how this mic sounds. Is it doing okay? Not 100% sure you guys are hearing me okay on this. Sometimes I get it doesn't quite come through as clearly as I'd like it to. So, you know what you're doing over there, honey? Huh? You know what you're doing? There you go. So like I said, Honey wanted to say hi. She wanted to say hi. Anytime I got the camera out, honey wants to come over and say hi. Here we go. So, all right. Let's keep on rolling here. Got our next one. Better be careful, honey. You're gonna get stuck inside there. All right. So again, best known practice on this. Let's go ahead and start your the nut and the bolt ahead of time. So that way they're all together. Right. So when you're starting your stuff here, you're putting this. Go ahead and start your nut and bolt ahead of time, so you can just grab it in one hand. And always have a pocket that your nuts and bolts go into, and they have another one with your connectors go into. Okay. So again, welcome everybody. My name is Ryan. Here working on my chicken run right now. Kind of working through the pieces here. We'll be squaring it up once I get the rest of the components in, and then once we're working on the the rooftop here to where it's a full enclosure. But again, welcome everybody. It's going to be multi-day stream on this because I'm going to get a big chunk of this done. We'll break, we'll come back. Tends to be that way with a lot of my streams. They're always, to be continued. Dun dun dun. Other things that I took into consideration that I wanted to have here is the distance between the house right here. Right. So I'm gonna have about 5 feet here. And I wanted to make sure I just had some room for this thing specifically. So I could get back here with the weed eater. It wasn't gonna be too cramped. Just kind of keep an eye on it, be able to look to see if there's any spots where predators are trying to get, usual predator stuff. And then also on the far side there to make sure I've got room that I can get around to, so they're not too cramped, because I do want to be able to get in there for cleaning. Got some Canadian geeses coming over us. There you go. That's that time of year. So, but anyways, just some consideration that I took with that. So, all right. But like I said, this isn't a bad. I'm pretty happy with the kit. Nothing too crazy here. Been able to piece this together rather quickly, to be pretty honest about it. It's moving fast. It's like with anything though, just got to take my time with it. Hey girls. Hope you guys probably don't want to spend too much time in here. This is like going to be your main hangout for a while, so but okay. Nope, honey, it's not for you to munch on. Like I said, I feel bad we lost one of their buddies. Right. Yep. Make sure I got the right one. The other day had a dog get into the fence, into the garden enclosure, and got one of them. So that was a bit of a bummer. And the other side of that, unfortunately, it was also one of the chickens that was kind of suffered. Man, okay, what are you doing here, dude? Get it together. Okay, there we go. It was one of the chickens that was suffering anyways. You could tell she was from the cold, was a little bit over the course of the winter. She wasn't doing too well. So, all right, so this goes back in here. This goes here. Okay, so it's going to be one of those. And this is one of the spots where this part isn't exactly level, which I knew was going to be happening at some point. So this is my first one. And so far, it's not too bad. Like I said, I got one spot that isn't exactly like locked in solid, and that's okay. Like I said, it'll all true up once we get everything connected. But let me move you guys over here. I just get a better idea what's kind of going on here. I'm like way on the other side. So everybody kind of hanging out here. You guys can see what we're working with here. And it's like one of those days too, like we're getting sprinkles, so it's not like even like enjoyable out here right now. But you know what? Better than being inside, and then having snow covering everything. So I will take it. Same thing with these bolts. They're just like usual, right? They got the squared off on the end. Everything's machined, so you can kind of do this one-handed. It's also a good way to basically just save some money on the components too. Ugh, how much rain are we gonna get? It's just been more of just like an annoying rain day. Hey, girls. Ugh, you guys want to head back over? I bet you do. Ooh, careful, buddy. All right. Again, right now, the first goal is just to get these two locked in, and we'll tighten everything up here in a second. All right. But again, just remember on this, folks, take your time. This material is pretty solid. Like, this is good steel. All the components are, they're quality. So that's not too big of an issue. I'll loosen this up a little bit. This will be easier just to get up. In theory, should be easier to get up there. Come on. Ugh, this rain is picking up on me, guys. All right. I think it's you right here. Let's go, guys. I'll let you guys hang out. Keep an eye on it. Let you guys watch as I get the chickens back. Come on, girls. Come on. Let's go. Come on. All right. Let's go. Go, 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 go. Go, go, go. Go, 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 go. Come on. You get over there. Thank you. All right. Come on, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. He's coming. Here you go. Let's go. Let's go. There they go. They ain't trying to be out in this rain. I know that much. Okay. Yeah. I think that looks pretty good. Again, I'm just getting a chance to view it from more of a distance here than anything. Okay, so got the chickens back over. Appreciate everybody kind of hanging out. We get some tea to warm up, and then we'll work on finishing up this step over here. Okay, so this next piece, I have to read up on this next piece because they were kind of particular in the directions about it. All right, so the next piece over here, this is where this area that's right in here is where the there's a component. Oops. I just find a spot. There we go. Where this door comes in. So I just need to make sure proficient. Choose desired position, coop frame and door panel. Please note the chicken coop mounting panel must be positioned with the coop sliding door handle hole sliding to the outside corner. Okay. So that's this thing. That's this guy right here. There's a hole here, a hole there. It says it needs to be the outside corner. Yeah, that makes sense. Something like that. I guess, and what they're saying basically, they want to make sure is that I don't have the hole, it appears blocked. That makes sense. Okay. Can do that. We can do that, folks. Okay, so there's that spot. All right. I think guys up right here while I'm working on this. There we go. So again, we're going to be working on connecting here, connecting there. And again, it's just a couple components, nothing too crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4. There should be 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, look at that. Love it when it comes together like that. Good news story. So again, they got these clamps that it comes with. All right, and you piece 2 of them together along with a bolt. It kind of holds everything together. It's a nice little spot here. This will give me a chance to kind of look at this and just make sure we're in a good spot. I think, again, once I true it up, it'll be fine. Again, end of the day, it's going to be me looking at this, and I think it'll be okay. Let me get this bolt on this guy. There's nut on this bolt, because I will end up losing one of these nuts. We all know that if I don't take my time. And again, that's where I tell folks on this, just take your time. Always have one pocket for one thing, another set of pockets for another. So again, as we're piecing this together, again, welcome everybody who's just kind of hopping on the stream here. We're working on the chicken run, the run portion of my new setup for my girls. Got this from Tractor Supply Company. Was always planning this time of year was going to be building a new coop, but man, I'm just looking at the prices and all the hardware and everything. And yeah, I could build out my own custom one, right? But I would be paying more than likely. Or if I just went with an easier, lighter version, whatever you want to say, more custom built, I'd be saving maybe a couple $100 at most. But then there's all the time and energy for fabrication and all the other stuff. So I just kind of just asked myself, like, Ryan, do you really want to be doing 1,000 cuts? Again, for this, in order to do this, or what are you trying to get to? So I just made the decision, a couple $100 worth my time just to be able to come in and piece this together. Other thing too is that it actually looks pretty good. Like I say, I like the color of it. It matches with where I'm gonna, I got to restain the deck this year, but it matches with the colors that we use there. And plus it's, it'll look good. It'll add to the aesthetic of the backyard and kind of what we piece together. So all those things, all that to say, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I think it's going to work out okay. Right. And I will definitely be working on truing this up though, because I do believe that my setup here is a bit off, which again, that was always going to be the case anytime you're just kind of piecing this together. But I will definitely square it up. Make sure it's good as we're going along here. So it's this one here. Yep. There we go. Looking good here, guys. So welcome everybody. Good to have you guys on here. One of those days today, I can say that much. It is definitely a spring day, late winter, early spring day in Michigan, where yesterday we had sunshine and everything was cool, and when it was nice, you're like, man, this is all right. And you come here and it's just rainy and yuck. Not rainy and yuck, just not where you want it to be. So weather-wise. Okay, so this has got a little bit of loose there. And a lot of this is going to square up just as I am putting stuff on too. Like I already know that, like that'll be a thing. As far as those components. So again, what we're doing here, folks, again, you haven't put these together. Everything is pretty loose right now. So that way I can adjust it, square it up as I'm putting the roof panels on. That's the other side of this is that once we just put the roof components on, it'll help square everything up. That's the other part of this. Got 1, 2, 3. Interesting. Okay. All right. So let's get this last set here. What time do we got? Yeah. So we got a little bit left to do here. A little bit left here as we're working this. Yeah, no big rush on this. Gotta take our time for sure. And just make sure this is good. But again, this it's gonna be a nice little run. Hey Bonnie, what's you doing? Got my pups out. She woke up from her nap. She's out saying, yeah, I don't want to be out here today. I don't blame her. Don't blame her. All right, so oh, of course I did that on that one. That's fine. So same thing here. I just want this stuff aligned. Everyone kind of looking the same. Where this goes. Don't you dare. Tugged on that a little bit too hard. Ugh. Why does it have to be raining today? We didn't even have sprinkles. Like, we didn't even have rain in the forecast for today. Yeah, go figure. I shouldn't say we didn't have it. It was like a 10% chance at like 10 this morning. That's all we had. And it's been sprinkling all day. Good. Good. And we'll get this last one on here. Yeah, but we've got I want to get this part done, get this all squared away so I can work on the, eventually over time breaking down the chicken coop that's in there in the run. So that way I can, because we need to get started by getting stuff in the planted in the ground out in the polytunnel. I've got brassicas that are getting to the point that they need to be in the ground. They're screaming in the greenhouse, like they're ready to go. So we want to get them in the ground, and then I got to get some other stuff going too. That time of year where we're still early for for a lot of stuff, but for the things we aren't, man, they're ready. All right, there we go. So we got the frame done, frame-ish done, right? It's still got to be get this part set up. You guys can see kind of what it looks like. And again, that's run. The coop's going to be on this side over here. Entry doors on that side over there. So came together pretty good. And again, you can see the color that we're dealing with here. It's all getting sprinkled on. It ain't the end of the world here. So next up is getting these. So I've got to read up on that. That's its own thing. So again, directions on this are pretty straightforward. Piece those together. It looks like they come in, they go this way and then this way. Yep. Okay. So it's 5, 6, 5, 6. This seems pretty straightforward. I'm sure it's not, but it seems pretty straightforward. And it's got this ceiling, it won't be that straightforward, but that's what it looks like. All right. So basically, you've got these two sections right here. They got these clamps that are already welded on here. They're going to attach onto these posts right here. Just going to lift them up and drop them in, and then they connect to each other in two pieces. To get that out of there, mind you, with these, they just kind of pop in. There we go. So they'll connect together like this. I'll lift it up and drop it on. I think that's it. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'll make sure you guys get to see this in full silliness as I try to attempt this. But seems pretty straightforward. Yeah. Okay, there's this. Let me do this side over here. Oh, I got girls laying eggs over there. They're making sure everybody knows. That one's locked in. All right. They are definitely making sure everyone knows it's egg laying time. All right. There you go. So those are together. So now we're just gonna lift this up and throw it down there, see how this looks. And by the way, and again, if you are uncertain or you don't have the strength for this or concerned, put that one on there, that one on there. Make sure you have a buddy to help you with this stuff, okay? No reason to hurt yourself or to have any sort of issues, but you can see pops right on there. All right, so there's a few connections and stuff that got to be made still, obviously, with this thing. So it looks like those 4 go there. So what we got here is then I come in around the bottom side of this with clamps to clamp to the bottom. And we're gonna put clamps down here to lock it in. Then yep, do the same thing on the other side, and then we clamp in the middle, which should be interesting to say the least. So, all right, so, oof. And these are on the sides here, these are the which ones are these? $12 and $8, so 25, 32. All right. So it's other stuff here. They have a great job here as far as labeling each one. So it's just kind of, you have to go back to the directions to say which ones are which. So, but again, it's real clear. Like I say, just take your time. Again, this is one of those things you don't want to rush, to say the least. I don't want to make sure I got the right size. Actually, there's only one other size bolts. What am I talking about? You can only get the other ones. I've got 4 spots here. I kind of want to. So let's start on this side over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2. Ooh. See, and that's what I was worried about. Right off the bat. That's what I was worried about. So let me get this guy back in here. Come here. Okay. Like I said, I was worried about this a little bit, and I should have been worried about it a lot of bit. The feeling as soon as I touch this, you're going to run into this problem. Okay. It looked good until I touched it, which was to be expected. Okay. All right. What did I miss? big part of this. Make sure this is squared up. So let me put these on. Okay, back at it here, folks. Just tell me this isn't entertaining or what. But again, one of the reasons I go do this live in front of everybody is not because I'm some sort of master dude at doing this. A lot of folks, they get in over their head on these things when they buy these new things, and they don't see what actually goes into putting these things together, and they get frustrated and possibly hurt themselves and all the other stuff that happens, right? And that's why I like to do this live with everyone, so they can see, like, hey, you know what? These things do. There's a method to the madness on this, but they don't go together easily like that. Okay. Make sure you're there. Make sure you're there. There we go. So everybody on there this time? Okay, so this guy's on. That's what I mean. Like, this is going to naturally help us straighten this out. By the way, that when it comes on there, this is where it's good. Again, if you got a friend to help you with this, all the better. So that way, when you're putting these things on, someone's out here helping you move it and square it up. So if you got a partner, definitely have a partner for this. Make things a little bit easier for you, but not 100% required. Definitely recommended though. So let me come in here. This side is on, that side's on. Cool. So we're in a good spot. So what we're gonna do here, I'm gonna do this from the outside. We're gonna drop. So on each one of the brackets that they have up here, they've got a spot for the bolt. I'm just gonna drop it in on each one of these. So it's in place already. So when I come through here, I can just lock it in. Because I can't really reach around through the, right? It wouldn't really be a secure thing if I can't lock it in. Now again, same thing here. It's going to be loose while we're doing it to get it started. And then once we get everything in, when we square this up, we'll be coming around to straighten it up. So we want this right there. And it's pretty straightforward on this, because it has to fit between the grates. Oh man, that rain is starting to come down. I may have to call the stream here, guys. That time of year, if I'm going to be outside doing stuff, you kind of got to be prepared to get rained on, you know? There you go. So there's that one. This one here. But as I always say, folks, don't rush this. One, you spend a lot of money on these things, right? Like, that's that piece. But two, if you don't want to bend stuff or break something and rush through this and cause a problem. There you go. Yeah, that guy definitely doesn't go anywhere. So I'm going to do this other side. On this side, bring you guys over here to kind of see how this is going together. Right here, working on it. You guys can see. Okay. Oof. Another piece though is my fingers are frozen. Drop this in ahead of time. Put this one in here. This is where I can see where this is going to have to get trued up some, and we'll get that squared away. Such as, how many over is that? I'll have to count that and make sure it's there. So with the other side here is I've got this other side set in where it's mostly correct. So on this piece here, I want to do the same thing and make sure that they are on the same, on the grates here, on the lines, we want to make sure they're on the same line. That's how it's going to help us, true everything up. So we'll do that, count that over and make that adjustment right now. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over there. And we'll want to count over 7 on this one to make sure this one is 7 of these over also. But I'm going to get my gloves back on because touching all this metal, having the rain come down is not exactly warm. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right there. There we go. Okay. Get this guy started. And big part of this is going to help me figure out how to true this up some, which I believe, well, let's get her tightened up and then we can worry about that part later. That one, we start on this one over here. Where'd that go? I did lose one nut already. That's fine. One thing that's nice about this too is these are M10s, pretty common. You can get these pretty, at any of the big box stores too, which is, I also was checking to see how, don't want to have some sort of weird random parts for this. Most of the components on this are pretty straightforward. Same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Kind of what I expected. Yeah, we're definitely going in after this. The rain's starting to pick up. I just want to make sure this guy is not going to be flip-flopping all over the place on me. Yeah, we're going to be closing the stream out here, guys. Going to come around to your side and close this off. So, again, we're going to be working on the overall build for the chicken coop here over the next few days. Got the run mostly done here. Got another maybe 20 minutes to work on the run here to get it where it needs to be at. But the next spot's on here tomorrow. I'm going to probably throw these on real quick before I go. There's additional brackets that are going to go here, but these are locked in. I'm going to do these brackets on the end before I go. So that way it's not having all this stress on these welds that are right there. Oh, geez. This guy is getting soaked. Don't need that. And it's going to be 8. Definitely have to take this book inside and let it dry off tonight. All my pages are starting to, in this one part, are starting to come apart, and I can't have that. 8 is my 25, 32, 25. So it's the same clamps, kind of what I thought. These go 2 of them on each, right here and here to help support it. So let's do those. Again, take your time. A lot of this is mostly just to remind me. I'm going to get my camera our phone out of the rain. That doesn't help anybody to have this. Have my phone getting all wet here. Right? Right. Okay. So got 1, 2. This guy here. Let's start here. This guy. Tighten this one up. And I think it's understood that there's going to be a little sag on this when you're starting. Looks like that's the way this was designed. This will help just kind of bring it all up at the same time. Yep, that's kind of what it looks like. It's all just going to kind of come together. Cool. Wait a minute. Just noticed something. That's part of the problem there too. So I got to double check those. That may be some of the issues. Just notice these clamps. They're two different sizes on the end hooks. It's two different size pipes. Didn't even notice that. Okay. I bet this is going to fit together a lot better now that I noticed that. Look at that. Oh man, that's like butter. Oh, Ryan. Ah, you're such a simple dude sometimes, man. Oops. There's one. Get our next one in here. And we got eggs being laid again. New chicken. Because everybody was just holding off on their egg laying until worst possible time. Good job, ladies. Way to be on top of that. Okay. Man, it was so nice the other day when the sun was out. We hadn't seen it in a while. But we also need the rain. Is that part of your... We got... Oh, so I do have... we do have our tulips are starting to come up. So I saw some crocuses. So stuff that we're looking for that's signaling, hey, it's going to be that time of year. Man, we're seeing those signs all over the place around here, which is great. Lilacs are starting to do their thing. Okay, there we go. So, you know, that's always cool. That's always cool to see. Okay. Drop this in. I have to come around to the inside. So again, all of these are are pretty good and secured, but like I said, it's tight enough for today. Once we finish everything together and on, then we'll come around and get everything tightened really far down. And that'll be, frankly, once the coop itself is built and installed, I don't want to really be going too far with the build, too far with any of this until we've got the, or did I do that backwards? Yep, I messed that up. There we go. The wrong size, the wrong side. Go figure. There we go. All right. What a gross day out. Yuck. I say, I am glad I got the polytunnel back up when I did, though, because that definitely needed to get back up. Start warming that soil up and try to get whatever we have that's going to germinate. And as far as weeds, get that to germinate now. So, all right. Got one more. Actually, we're going to stop there because that's enough to have everybody kind of covered. All our components can hang out over here and do that. So, all right, folks, I'm going to get my tools out of the weather. It's good to see everyone. We'll be back here tomorrow as we continue on the build here on the chicken coop and the run. Take care. We'll see you next time.